Hi, Ryan.
Hello, Rachel.
How are you going?
I am doing extremely well, Rachel. How about yourself?
I am so glad to hear that.
I'm feeling free because we're getting so close towards the end of this story and our characters are on the upswing again. They went through some tough times, but now they have the ability to, do what they got to do, and I'm so keen to see how this all plays out.
I'm worried about them.
Today on Podcast, we are talking about the Expanse yet again. Rachel and I started this journey a long time ago, watching through the television series as first-timers. I saw a few episodes when it initially aired, but dropped it for whatever reasons. And then we finished the show, didn't we, Rachel? We finished that? And what have we been doing since then?
We picked up the audiobooks and we have been listening to them together. Typically, we listen along in the evenings while we both play separate video games.
What book are we reading and talking about and getting into today?
Tiamat's Wrath,
which is the 8th book out of the 9. Of course, there's all of these short stories and novellas. But according to the Goodreads summary, yes, we do read the Goodreads summary. We've had people say, please read elsewhere, but tough luck. Because Goodreads is the IMDb of books. And we read the IMDb summaries for the show, so it only feels appropriate.
Own both?
Yeah, correct. They own both. Isn't that great? Well, they own the Expanse, at least. I don't know where IMDb's leaders are, their owners. I don't know.
Yeah, does that have a singular?
IMDb, write into us, yumyumpod@gmail.com.
Oh,
but
I was just going to Google it.
No, they can write into us. But here's what the summary for this book is. 1,300 gates have opened to solar systems around the galaxy. But as humanity builds its interstellar empire in the alien ruins, the mysteries and threats grow deeper. In the dead systems where gates lead to stranger things than alien planets, Elvia Koya begins a desperate search to discover the nature of a genocide that happened before the first human beings existed, and to find weapons to fight a war against forces at the edge of the imaginable. But the price of that knowledge may be higher than she can pay. At the heart of the empire, Teresa Duarte prepares to take on the burden of her father's godlike ambition. The sociopathic scientist Cortázar, it used to be Cortázar, but now they've changed it, and the prisoner James Holden are only two of the dangers in a palace thick with intrigue, but Teresa has a mind of her own and secrets even her father, the Emperor, doesn't guess. And throughout the wide human empire, the scattered crew of the Rocinante fights a brave rearguard against Duarte's authoritarian regime. Memory of the old order falls away, and a future under Laconia's eternal rule, and with it, a battle that humanity can only lose seems more and more certain. Because against the terrors that lie between worlds, courage and ambition will not be enough. What did we think of this book? Did we have any expectations or thoughts going into it?
My expectations were that some people were going to die. I was expecting that. I was trying to prepare myself for the worst. And then then a lot of bad things happen. A lot of good things happen as well. I had a feeling that there was going to be a shake-up with the resistance structure.
Mm-hmm.
But I was pleasantly surprised by the way that Naomi came to being in charge. And her experience being an admiral.
I expected, at the bare minimum, they were going to save Holden in this book, that they were working towards saving Holden. And we did get it. We did get that, of course, and it did play out in a way that I was hoping, but it was still done in a manner that was fresh and different enough. Like, I was thinking that they're going to infiltrate Laconia, they're going to go undercover, they're going to ingratiate themselves, there's going to be fighting, and there's going to be ships.
It's going to be the mission to get Holden. But it was just like a happy accident.
Yeah, in part. Like, they had to really fight tooth and nail.
They did, but it wasn't... They were responding to an opportunity that was given them. They didn't seek the opportunity.
And Holden got broken free from an inside force that he had a very peculiar relationship with, suffice to say.
I think neither of us were expecting Teresa to be that, or be...
The point of view?
No, like... I think we were expecting her to continue to be a pawn. And that maybe next book she would do something.
I didn't know if the child of Duarte would be a sane individual or not.
Yeah.
So that was nice. But overall, this book in particular, I did like it. I did very much enjoy it. I thought that what it did best was putting down so much in a very digestible way, because when you look back on this book, when you look at what happened from beginning to end, so much happens, and yet I didn't feel overwhelmed. I don't feel like this was like, tearing at the seams with how much it's packed in.
It's leveled out. It doesn't feel like an episode of Killjoys that's written by the creator.
It's not a Michelle Lovretta script where it's just giving us so much.
Pensive, I feel like, is a good word for this book, because there's a lot of contemplation and stillness within the chaos, because these individuals that we're in their perspectives, we're seeing the world through their eyes, are having that. They're having those struggles. So even though chaos is all around all of our characters,
no one's safe from it.
Yeah.
Not even our glorious God Emperor.
Everybody is trying to find their inner stability.
What motivates them?
So then they can project that outwards. But all of these characters have a different version and a different perspective of what that serenity would look like. Like, Duarte has a specific perspective and believes in the mission of Laconia and Laconian rule.
And his own greatness.
His own greatness, definitely. Naomi has her perspective. Teresa has hers.
Alex and
Elvie. Like, all of them do, but then they are still grouped within these two sides. But Holden's vision of what success looks like and restoring the universe is different than Naomi's and different than Bobby's. And I think that's part of what I really enjoyed about Bobby in this book, was how she's like, I don't even know what winning looks like anymore with this.
One of the brilliant moves of this book is we understand not only just the perspectives of these characters, but we totally buy into their rationale for their belief systems, and yet they clash with one another, yet they argue with one another, yet they deny the other one's point of view, and you believe it on all sides. Like Bobby, when we're in her headspace, when we're in her chapters, her rationale, her mindset, her beliefs, her way of going about things makes sense. But then Alex challenges her. Alex sees it another way, and when we're in Alex's chapters, we're like, yeah, of course, that makes so much more sense. Yeah.
That's
And then we're with
why-
Naomi, you know, she's challenging kind of both of them in a lot of their ways, but also she's very insecure about herself, so there's like a level of hesitance because she doesn't
questions herself more than anybody else does.
Because unlike so many other characters in this book, Naomi, she struggles with, she has perspectives and thoughts, but she has no way of knowing how to put that into action. How do you actually realize that? Well, Bobby
Because
and Alex and
used
Teresa
to
and
using Jane.
Jimmy Holden.
Yeah,
But or like literally Holden, who's so humbled in this book and can only do so many minute maneuvers here. Even he is able to bring what he thinks into action with, considering his circumstances, relative ease. While Naomi, she knows in her head what she wants, but how do you actually do that? Like all of this in the book was really just neat to see, and it was different too because like in other books it's like everyone's like on the same page, or if they're having like a difference of opinion or an argument or something, I don't know, there's just something about this one in particular where we're just so involved with each character that when they do lock horns, I'm not necessarily going, well, no, clearly Bobby's right, or no, clearly Alex is wrong.
A reason why I loved seeing some of these scenes from multiple perspectives, and the one that leaps to mind is when Naomi, Alex, and Bobby meet up for what becomes the last time that they all see each other together, and their different feelings about that, and the way that they perceive it, and also the way that they reflect upon that afterwards, even before Bobby is killed in action.
Mm-hmm. Also, something that we have touched on briefly in other books, but was very palpable here because of also the context of everything with the Laconians now in charge and further time has passed, which is previous point of view characters in the story, but they are no longer a point of view character, and how you can still feel their mindset and their understanding.
You understand them in a different way because they were previously a POV.
For instance, Drummer is only in like one chapter of this book, I'm pretty sure. She's only in like one bit of this story. But the way she argued her points and the way that she felt discomfort and the way that she felt sorrow, it just bled so well from the previous one. And yet she's not a point of view character in this book. Yet she's being looked at from somebody else. But we know her so well, and the way that she talks and the way that she holds herself still feels true in this. Or even we open this devastatingly with Christian has died. One of our favorite characters, one of the standouts, probably Amos and Christian are the two big characters that make The Expanse as a series, as a franchise, as a property, as whatever, stand so tall. They're like, in my mind still, Amos and Christian are the big characters that everyone can point to and go, that's what The Expanse has over this book or this sci-fi show. And she's no longer here. She's gone. But her voice is literally in the heads of certain characters.
I loved that part of this book because it reoccurs the idea of versions of people that you've known, you've loved, have meant a lot to you, continue to live in your brain. And it's like their little voice coming in, and with some characters they're very aware of it and using it to think through problems, like with Naomi, or just like using them to help them just problem solve, like Bobby does a couple of times, or
Holden does it especially
to anchor them, which is kind of what Holden uses Avasarala and Naomi to do, to give him comfort as well as direction.
And one of the things that was so good to include with this, though, was when we learn that Christian has died and the Laconians are like doing their maneuver to capitalize on this by, you know, making her this legend, and they're making a parade and like they're making a show of it.
They've taken her body to Laconia.
Yeah, there's like a statue, all this audacious nonsense. And they and her granddaughter is there. And Holden and her are having a talk about like she probably would have loved this or hated this. Or she would have found it funny. Don't know. Like, she was still a person that was so much of her own that you don't truly know another person fully. So whenever we have them in this story, when other characters have the other in their mind, it is always reinforced that this is this character in particular, perception and version of them, and narrative function of them that they need them to be. Like, he will use Christian for certain modes in his manipulate. When he needs to be Holden a manipulator, he thinks of her. He's like, how can I do this? And it just is
okay,
so
I need to
good.
be a political genius, so I gotta be like Avasarala right now.
I am heartbroken.
What would she do?
I am heartbroken that she's no longer here. It makes sense. I mean, she was always old from the beginning, and these books just keep pushing and pushing time. But I am heartbroken that, you know, she died before we could, you know, rumble those Laconians. It's not as if this is a dissatisfying end to the character, but I was a bit like, no, how could we?
Especially because
we start with this.
Bam.
We start with that. We're like, oh, Christian's dead. I'm like, no, you can't say that. No,
not fair.
It's not fair. The Laconians are wanting to like clamp down on everything and establish a new world order, universe order, make the status quo a certain way. But the thing about time is it marches on and things change, and we have here the status quo of our main characters is again different. They're all split up. Everyone's like two of the characters are together, but everyone else has gone off and they're on their own journeys, discovering what they need to do or working an angle to try and save Holden or take down those Laconians.
They're split up. They're not necessarily divided because they're working towards the same goal and they have their own jobs, which I think is a good move because the show eventually got very samey in that way of we've got all of these parts and they're going to come together at the end.
There is the divide of Naomi just could not do this anymore, and she basically exiled herself. Like, she's still a part of the resistance, but she does not want to do it through violent means. She doesn't want to do it through force of arms, while the others feel very differently about this.
I was expecting her to encounter Philip.
I don't know if we'll ever see Philip again.
I don't think we will.
Oh, I think we said it before. We don't want it.
No. But a part of me was just like, with her playing the shell game, I was expecting him to eventually be one of the people that was helping her.
I want to just ask you, how did you feel about Alex? Because one of the big revelations is Alex is allowed stuff in the story only in books, it seems, because we would go round and round and round about how, like, on paper, we like Alex, but in the show, he just doesn't get anything to do. He's just like a good character, but there's no substance or material, more importantly, material. But in the books, he gets stuff to do, and he gets stuff to do in this book.
It is an interesting wrinkle in these books and this show that there is such a divide between book Alex and show Alex. And a part of me wonders if they didn't feel like there was enough action, stakes, and emotion to the stuff that happens with Alex in this book. Because he's still very much his own person, but a lot of his drama is connections through connections.
Yeah, where does he exist
it's
now?
Alex and Bobby and their relationship. Alex and Kit. It's not so much his own internal stuff as much as it is with other characters.
I actually feel differently about this. I actually feel very differently about that. One of the things, just to touch on with the show, yes, of course we know in the show they killed Alex because the actor's a scumbag, and so we wouldn't have gotten this anyway. But to my mind, Alex always got the short end of the stick because we could do more dramatically interesting things with this character, this character, this character. And then
it was easier with other characters.
And you just run out of time and you go, well, I guess Alex misses out again. Oh, well, I guess misses out again. He can be at least comedic or the heart of the group. Like, he can make lasagna and all of that. But what I want to say about this, though, in terms of the books, is one thing that's been very consistent is he is the person who is like the father figure, like he's the dad.
Yep.
He's the guy that is always aware of where home is for him, which is this family and the Rocinante. And whether it's specifically the Rocinante
and what
or not,
makes that home.
And that's rarely been shaken for him or challenged for him. He's always known where he belongs. This book, though, he is the most challenged by that. He feels uneasy, unsure of himself, unsure of the connections that he has.
Is this home now? Is the Rossi still home?
Or is Mars my home?
What does family look like now?
Because one of the most emotional parts of this book for me was not necessarily like the big things like a character dying or Holden being freed or Duarte becoming like this insane baby man or whatever. All of that's great. But what resonated with me the strongest was Alex having this back and forth dialogue with himself about his son. And how much he's not in his son's life, yet he wants to be, but he knows by his very nature that he can't. Yeah. And he has to accept that. And he has to accept, too, that his son is the next generation of people he's hoping to make a better world for, because he himself, Alex, won't be around to see it. And he probably doesn't. And even if there was a better world, Alex wouldn't appreciate it because he's happy doing what he's doing. I really found that compelling stuff, and I thought it was so well articulated. There was just a sense of longing there. Like, Alex has been such a cool, calm, confident character for the most part. And this has been such a sore point for him in this story, was just his son, his ex-wife, even like he's seeing before him now this person that he respects and loves in a way with Bobby. He's seeing her in like as a different being, like she's older now and she wants to keep fighting. It's like, do I want to keep fighting? Is this what I'm here for? And if we fight in this way, like, what's the end goal here? And the
what
fact
are
that
we fighting for?
And it's not to say that Alex hasn't been thinking of the big picture in the past, but this is very much an introspective book for him, where there's a lot of introspection. So I actually felt like he was one of the most emotionally, like, deep characters. At least I found him to be one of the most.
Yeah, like, I think I agree with what you've been saying about him, but to me, it's still on the lesser side compared to other characters that we get to engage with in a sort of broader range of reflective situations and experience a little bit more change. Like they're a little bit more dynamic because Alex is grappling with those things, and they are very important to him and to him as a character. But a lot of our other POV characters have bigger stuff going on, so it's not something that
bigger in like the narrative sense.
Yeah.
But also he loses the most in this book.
Yeah. Alex spends a lot of this book feeling lonely and alone, even though he's surrounded by people, because they aren't his people. And it's interesting that he gets to feel that way and explore those things in that way. And the novel is set up to have Naomi also experiencing those sort of feelings, but in a different context, in a different way. And that is really reflective of who she is.
Alex is alone in a crowd. Naomi is actually alone.
Yes, and she has enforced that exile on herself. She's got a setup as part of like the shell game. So she is in this shipping container, basically not talking to anybody directly. Like minimal human contact for months.
Oh, she gets messages from Holden.
Yes.
That
But
propaganda, weird, controlled messages.
Yes.
And then one time Duarte pops in to be like, oh, hello, I know I don't usually come in on these, but I have a proposition for you, young missy.
I just want to offer you something.
I just want to offer you a devil's bargain here.
Yeah. But the fact that she's still wanting to be involved. She's still wanting to help the resistance, but not willing to be the face of it initially, and not willing to be all in.
I'm just going to put my cards on the table here. I was looking over, like, who were the POV characters, how many. I was truly beside myself to learn that Naomi has the most chapters out of anyone in this book.
Oh, I'm not surprised.
I was surprised because I feel so little about her as a character.
Check in on her.
No, that's the thing. You can say we check in on her, but I don't feel like the weight of her character strongly, because here's my cards on the table. I think I've now reached the point where she's my least favorite character in these books. Mm-hmm. Not that I hate her. No. I just don't get much out of her character.
Somebody's got to be at the bottom if you're doing a ranking. But what I was going to say is that we check in on her frequently because she's at the intersection between our galaxy and Laconia.
And she's the second of the rebellion.
Even if she's like not directly there and directly involved, it's like she's got a finger in both pies.
Yes.
So that's why we spend a lot of time with her, because she has power and control. She's a nexus of sorts, right?
Yes. Yes.
So a lot of her stuff is functional as well. Like, her stuff helps move the plot forward. And she is very much being pushed by the plot.
Because of all the other people.
Not so
and their
much.
actions then impacting her. Like Duarte's war against the gods eventually kills the head of the resistance. So Naomi's now in charge. And yes, you're talking about she's functional. Like she serves a narrative function.
I'm wondering if that is also a part of why.
No. Well, okay, yes, probably, but here's the thing. I find her so lackadaisical that until you and I are laying it out like this, I didn't even consider her that much of a narrative pusher of the story.
No. I'm not even saying that
or her chapters.
She's there to help move the cogs or show how the cogs are turning.
I can understand this, yes, but I didn't feel even that level of heft to her chapters because I find them so, I guess, atmospheric is a way to describe it. Like, a lot of it is like
that.
loneliness and all of that, but I find it very superficial in comparison to other characters. And I'm not going to say that these writers can't write for women, because some of the best characters have been women, and there are other female characters in this book that are great. But let's be real honest here. We've seen them develop how to write for female characters over the course of the books and the show. But I think Naomi, like with Alex in the show, how he gets the short end of the stick, I think she gets the short end of the stick for being a well-written female character. I think all they know is she has hair. And she puts it in front of her face. They no longer sexualize her. They no longer go, oh, she's a black Asian lady who's tall. They don't do that anymore.
No.
She's too old, apparently, I think. I think that's the reason. But I want to be able to talk about Naomi more deeply because apparently she's she's the central character of this book. She takes up a lot of time, but I really don't have much to say about her other than function. She becomes the head of the resistance. She helps lead the charge. But, do I have much to say about her character-wise or thematically? Not really.
Oh,
I don't personally. I just didn't really care about her that much here at all, really. Her love for Jim has to matter more to me, and it really doesn't. I don't know. Do you like their romance in the books?
More than in the show.
But do you like it?
Yes and no. Because I've just accepted it at this point. And I appreciate a non-problematic long-term relationship being shown in fiction.
Yes.
It's nice.
I mean, they do have a problem, though. I mean, he's a prisoner. Yeah. Oh, I know what you're saying, though. But, okay, you and I clearly do not see eye to eye on the Naomi thing. I'm perplexing you. You're being aghast. You're literally crossing your arms at things I'm saying and rubbing your brow. Tell me a bit more about what about Naomi, lands for you.
I find it weird that you're saying, come on, tell me what you want, what's good about this, what lands for you. And I don't have a direct answer for you because I wasn't blown away by Naomi's stuff in this book, really. It felt solid. It felt real. It felt connected. And I kind of enjoyed the fact that she was so in control and not at various points in the book, because she's in charge of the resistance by the end of things and she's doing her best. But the fact that she also hates it at the same time is interesting to me, and it feels authentic to the character because she's spent so long using Jim to do the right thing and get the right thing done.
And for him to lead her.
Yeah, but she helps solve the problem. She's come through and she's the reason why so many of these plans have been formed and been able to work. But she doesn't feel comfortable being at the front of things.
She doesn't have the answers to begin with.
she doesn't want the reputation of a James Holden. She wants to be in the background, and she tries to step out of the limelight so much. And the fact that the universe, the circumstances lead her to being in the exact position that she didn't want to be, but she's unwilling to say no because the fact that things need to be done is more important than the fact that she doesn't want to be in that role.
See, you do have things to say about it. Like, I don't want it to come across like I'm just being like, tell me, because you were challenging me about why it doesn't work, and I want to hear more why it does work for you. What I will say is the most compelling stuff I had for Naomi was that ideological difference between her and Bobby about how do we deal with these Laconians. So we aren't going to magically be able to like blow them up and say we won through military might. No. That's not going to be realistic. Too many people have now started to adapt to their way of life. It's not that you can't just snap your fingers. You, a Martian,
we
should
have
know
to
that.
Deconstruct it and dismantle the Empire, not just defeat them in battle. We have to end the war.
And what do
the way that war is won is different to these two people, because Bobby, as is said, I'm pretty sure it's by Alex at her funeral, was that she was a Marine to her bones.
Mm-hmm. A Valkyrie too.
That is who she is. So she sees the solution through force, through violence,
through action. Because Naomi doesn't offer any action back. She says no. She does the worst thing. In like the worst thing, which is she shuts it down and says no, but doesn't offer a solution in return. Because she doesn't know.
No.
She doesn't know what that solution is and how you can actually enact it.
Shutting down, and these people want to
do stuff.
They want to take action. They're part of the resistance because they are trying to move things forward. And it's an interesting predicament that they both reflect on, of we've got a limited time where we can do this, because the young people are not connecting to this in the same way that the older Martians, the older Belters are. And once we lose that older generation, we are going to find this almost impossible to do.
Because we have lost things, while this new generation, this is the norm for them.
Yes.
So they don't know what they've lost. They don't know what to fight for.
They don't know how to fight as well. That's something that Bobby has to grapple with, is training people up to be a part of her team.
And learning the Laconian technology too was fun. Like their armor, their methods, and how similar but slightly different it is from Martian. Which is
like it's got Martian roots. Which I enjoyed as a sort of somewhat mirroring of what Elvie is exploring with, I'm blanking on the name, that like how evolution creates the same things in multiple worlds. Like it's almost that sort of idea coming through in a different way.
No, interesting comparison. I didn't even think of that.
Like I enjoyed Naomi's perspective on the things because it's so grounded in her being a belter because she is fine not taking the action of taking the slow path if it's the right path, and understanding that just defeating the Laconians isn't enough. If they just defeat them, then they can rise up from the ashes. And they don't want to create a phoenix.
Oh, of course. And
they want to make sure that this never happens again, which is how they get around to the idea of destroying the bases that create the ships.
Yeah, the shipyard stuff.
If they can't use the platforms, can't make another ship, can't make the antimatter.
They're not as special as anyone. Yeah. They're no longer as special as they think they are. Yeah.
Cripples the Empire, which reduces the need for force against them.
Oh yes, and the thing is, I appreciate the journey of Naomi in that way, in the philosophical and the functional. Like, the idea of she is this recluse who doesn't want to engage in battle and she wants to be a pacifist, who eventually she becomes the head of this resistance, and she's the ultimate tactician who's willing to lay down people's lives if she needs to get what she needs to do what she needs to do. And, through Bobby's sacrifice, she learns, Naomi does, like, oh, I see the importance of fighting now. That is definitely something. And also, considering these books, I do think there is something potent about how Naomi, still after everything she's gone through, after all of this stuff, she's still running away a lot as a character. Like, the Rocinante
that's her
crew,
instinct.
Yeah, that was all of the Rossi crew. That's how they all got to, or not all, like not Bobby, but like how the original OG people got to the Canterbury was they were running from something. But over the course of these books, we see that has changed for most of them. But with her, it's still been the consistent instinct and trait, whether to physically or internally run away. And that is something. And like, I guess you could also say like Alex has that as well, like in terms of like his life stuff, like being the pilot stuff is often him running away from his responsibilities or whatever. But like, he comes to terms with it like a lot more, like in these books, like he keeps coming to terms with it as he gets older too. I like the age stuff in this book. Like, since we've done this time jump, there's a lot of emphasis on everyone getting older, their bodies not feeling as virile,
and them being not just older, but like, we've only increased life expectancy so much. There's only so much that the drugs can do.
But I thought you were gonna say worn down, not just physically but mentally too. Like, it's not just like, is the crisis at hand wearing them down, but ages as well. Like,
they've
you get to
had
this point.
So many fights,
and like Naomi and Holden wanted to retire, but that can't happen. They're no longer afforded that. And Bobby, she has always defined herself as a Marine, and a part of that is the physical existence that you have to just keep tabs on and keep maintaining, just like the physicality, the strength, as well as the mind stuff. And as she gets older, that starts to no longer be as viable, and she's realizing that these people she's training, she won't be able to keep this up for so long. And she's just like, Bobby has always been a character that I've liked in the books, but she hasn't always been like, she's not one that I've ever said is my favorite character. I've definitely liked her a lot more in the books than I did the show as well. But this one, it's a very big one for her because it's also like, again, spoiler alert, everyone, like, Bobby dies. But before she died, I'll tell you this, they hook, line, and got me. I did not expect her to die in this book because I was actually like thoroughly invested in her character. So they did get me. Like when it started happening, like, oh yes, this is the way it has to go. But like when we first started this, I did not have her on the bingo card of people to die because I was just like, she had so much. She had so much to her. She had very strong points of view. She had opinions. She had actions she was taking. Like we keep coming back to this. This is about points of view and action, this book, a lot of the time, and like how there is the connectivity or disconnect between those two things. Like a lot of the characters either are connecting with what action they have to take or feeling the disconnect of how they feel and the actions that they take. And Bobby is flip-flopping between that a lot. But I really loved her relationship with Alex in these books, but this one, this story was the one that, they had to fight each other. They had to see differently. They had to see things from a different point of view because it makes it all the more bitter and sweet once she's gone. It makes it so that Alex then can have a more rounded view of things because it's like, well, she literally went out on her terms. Like she went out as, as a fucking Valkyrie, as she ought to.
And a part of her death chapter that I particularly appreciated was her deciding not to call.
And with it all said and done, did you like her book version?
Yeah. I appreciated her journey to the Rossi much more in the books. I enjoyed getting to see her stick around and have an impact long term. I love her relationship with Alex. I'm still so creeped out by her relationship with Alex's kid.
Yeah, that is a weird thing where she keeps making jokes about wanting to fuck his son. It is odd. I don't like it.
It's creepy.
Yeah, yep. And I'll just say it. I'll be big enough. I think they think it's fine because she's a woman saying it. They know if a guy says it, it's creepy. But when it's a woman, it's kind of funny. Ha ha, chee hee. I don't know, guys. Alex finds it creepy. So do I. But hey, Bobby, even in old age, they could not get the horn factor out. I'll give this book something. One of the least horny in these books is this one, and I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Like, we haven't talked about this in a little while, but like the horny factor of these books have also just spiked at random moments where it's like, oh, I guess they're over it now, and then it comes back in again.
We still got hindbrain mentions. We still got them.
We do still have them. I can't wait to see what horny shit Duarte is going to get up to in the next book. We've talked about all of these people in the ship and how they're separated. Throughout all of this, they're like, oh, Amos is gone. We sent him to Laconia with a bomb. We don't know what happened to him. He's probably dead. They come to terms with that. He's most likely dead. Everyone's like, oh, man, I don't know what happened to that Amos guy. I sure hope he's fine. I sure hope nothing weird's happening on Laconia. Either way, we're going to see Laconia now through the point of view of a teenage girl. And I'm sure that her mentor figures will all be normal people. Or what's that? She has a friend that lives in a cave and that no one knows about.
Wonder who that's going to be.
Who's an old man named Timothy? I wonder who that could be.
I didn't twig to it immediately like you did.
Oh, I was like, oh, Timothy, and it's an old man that lives in a cave. Of course, they're famous.
Like, yep, okay, we'll see. Like, I knew that Amos was gonna be there, and I was like, as soon as you said that, I was like, oh yeah, that makes complete sense. It's not gonna be anybody else. Economy of characters, blah 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 blah. But because I was just moving along at the pace of the book, I wasn't thinking forward.
Because the character wasn't thinking. much either, and not in a negative sense. I think the masterstroke of handling the Laconians in this book wasn't making it about Holden. Because Jim doesn't get as much to do in this book. Like, I think he only has like 3 or 4 chapters in total. I think they're like the prologue, interlude, and epilogue. But he's in other people's chapters. But the person that we see Laconia from the most is Duarte's daughter. That's already a compelling enough idea. But what I think is the absolute, this is a thing that you applaud the writers for, is since she is a child, since she is like a teenage girl, she has this naivete, this optimism, these blinders on. She's so emotional and volatile that everything she sees of this world seems normal to her. But since we are reading it, we know what's wrong, but she doesn't, and she dresses it up for herself like it's all okay.
She uses those tactics that she's seen in the vids, and it's interesting how that's just laid out for the audience, because Teresa doesn't understand it that way a lot of the time, of how much of that is impacting the way that she sees the world and views herself within the world. And then as she's coming into more challenges, she channels the attributes of the heroines that she wants to be like.
But also she's channeling the hopes and dreams of her father.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of Illich.
Yeah, she's not disconnected like the little orphan girls.
Look, there's the joy of being able to see a fucked up authoritarian nightmare world from the point of view of a believer, from the point of view of someone who's brainwashed. That's always, like, dramatic irony-wise, delicious. That, like, Babylon 5 did that a whole bunch. I mean, Starship Troopers does that a whole bunch. Like, it's very enjoyable. But I think what makes it more than just that is you marry that together with the innocence of childhood. Like, and it makes you as a reader, I should say, it makes you question about, like, when you're a child or when you're a teenager, how much you took things as is because you didn't know any better and you just believe what you're told. You
just go, well, the adults around me are saying this, so it must be true, right? Why would everybody be lying? Like, there's not the thought, oh, this is a conspiracy.
I loved this character, Teresa. I loved her. It's that she starts to look at things that she values and desires as a teenage girl. Like, she wants to have a romantic relationship. She wants to have friends. She wants to have a mum. She wants to be able to play with her dog. She wants to go rock climbing and do all these dangerous little things. But there's always something obstructing that because of who she is. Because she is not just a 14-year-old girl. She is the daughter of the ruler of humanity, and she's also expected to be the next ruler / co-ruler of humanity. So you have that on top of everything else, but also just bare bones insecurities that we all feel when we were going through puberty and teenage years.
Yeah. And the fact that people around her, when she like starts getting caught, that they're just like, well, yes, this is very natural. This is expected. Your father was prepared for this.
She has nothing but yes men around her. There's no one being honest with her. They're all controlling her.
They all have their own agenda. And how she comes to realize that in, like, what makes her sort of twig to that is Holden being like, Well, yes, I am trying to manipulate you. Everybody is.
Or Amos letting her know that she's one of the angriest people he knows.
I love the way that gets repeated, and she feels different about it
each time.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many eureka moments for this character as well, because I thought of two others that really rippled out for me. Obviously, the one being her relationship with Illich, her handler, her keeper, her teacher, her friend. That changes because he is so prim and proper and intellectual and nice. And I felt that. I genuinely felt that too. Like, her friendship with this man felt authentic, even though we know he is assigned to her and he is manipulating her. Because we are getting this through her eyes, she admires this man. This is the person she wants her father to be, in a way, because her father's much more distant. He's doing all of these other things, but Illich is there. You know, Illich and Muskrat the dog, these are the things that are in her world. And then, you know, Timothy, he's her little secret, so that's different. But there comes a point where she realizes that Illich is acting, that he's lying, that he does not like her, or that he is not always happy with her, that he gets angered by her, that she pisses him off. And, you know, I think I can speak, you know, personally about this, but like, that is a heartbreaking thing as, you know, as a child, or when you're growing up, of realizing that there are adults out there that you thought loved you unconditionally, or, you know, cared about you in this way, and then you see that that isn't necessarily the way the world works. It can be very, you know, shattering to your ego and to your perspective on things, to your worldview.
Yeah, especially at that time, your worldview is more fragile because you haven't had it as long. And so many experiences can really shift the way that you feel about things, because they're often the first time that you are having those experiences. Like her, you know, romantic tryst situation.
And that everyone's scared. The other moment that stood out to me was, and I can't believe we got this, she got to interact with the monster. She got to talk to Sing's daughter.
Yes.
And it wasn't, there is this, I should say this was great. She sees that Sing's daughter starts having like a tantrum and a cry, and then the mother, you know, soothes her and gives her love and support, and she's like, Teresa's
You're
like,
spoiling the child.
Yeah, that's not how I'm raised, so they must be doing it wrong. That was awesome. But what I really took away, and this was like a big thing for the story, was Teresa's trying to be like her father, teach you, impart wisdom upon you, mentor you, show you how you're wrong by playing this game with the monster. And when it doesn't go the right way, tit for tat, the tit for tat mentality. And what happens is Teresa does not account for the fact that people or entities or whatever don't play by the rules, don't go as simple binary as that, because the monster flips the game and screams and says she's a cheater and she doesn't want to play anymore.
That's not fair.
That's not fair. And she completely blows up. And that idea we see bite the Laconians in the arse throughout the entire book. Because they keep thinking thinking that it works like that. We do tit for tat, but it's like, if you do that, you think it's like a game, but like
their logic for how they attack the entities is so fucked in a way that makes complete sense that people would believe it.
But it all comes back to that small moment, and for Teresa's character, it's something that also keeps happening, where she keeps thinking, well, I can tit for tat Holden, right? He interacts like this, so I interact like that. Bam, bam, bam. Let's do this game. And then he starts to change. He changes his way of doing it, and she doesn't know how to take it.
No, because the Laconian logic doesn't account for people being dynamic, because it assumes and it enforces that people be one thing, one way.
Or can be manipulated, malleable, a sheep, basically. All that. Everyone's going to think in the same way, and if
they'll
don't,
stay in their lane.
And if they don't, we have a countermeasure for it. We always have a countermeasure because we think ahead. But I want to know your feelings and your takeaways about Timothy and the relationship he has with Teresa, because this is what he has for most of the book.
Yeah, and I really appreciate the sort of the button that we get for this plot at the end of this book of, well, yeah, like I was kind of getting ready to do the nuke, and then I met the kid. And then it felt shitty. It didn't feel right anymore.
He can't hurt children.
Yeah.
It goes against his code.
Yes. Because like that makes it feel like he went there willing to do it.
Mm-hmm.
But meeting her changed that. It gave a different perspective to that.
Humanized it.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like that would have been enough to stop book one Amos.
Because he's had so many people be his mentor.
Yeah.
And he had someone that he mentored, which was Peaches. But then she outgrew him. Or like she became the mentor back for him again. Like they kept having that back and forth dynamic. But now he has someone he feels like he can impart this wisdom to. And again, this comes back to Teresa only has father figures in her life. Amos is another. / Timothy is another. But he wants to come across as her equal more. And she has to, like, she keeps coming back round and round to, was he just manipulating me? Was he just lying to me?
Yeah.
Was he just using me?
That's another line that she repeats to herself, which is, if he said he was your friend, then he was. Amos doesn't lie about shit like that. We know that. She doesn't. And not only does she, like, she's having the revelation that all of these people are lying to her.
Even our good friend Jimmy Holden.
And all of these people that are lying to her are saying that that person's a liar. Well, what do you do with that?
Timothy / Amos is also the only one to really talk to her as a person, not as some commodity, not as some...
Duarte's daughter, as Teresa.
And he challenges her in ways that other people don't challenge.
You're the most angry person I know.
Yeah. And also her perspectives and like how she sees the world and how she sees people. Like, he knows Holden's a good guy. So it's like, hey, that guy's a good guy. You should maybe think of it like that. Like, oh, enemy. Oh, we're talking about the enemy again? Yeah. We're going to see things like this. Okay, well, have you thought about not doing that? Of course she hasn't. And now she's going to have that in the back of her mind because of you. And Timothy is old now. He's like got a Santa Claus beard.
Yeah.
He's bald, shaved head. But that relationship is so pure. And what I also thought was like really that they did a very smart job of doing was they didn't milk it too much, because they could easily make it lame.
It just was.
Or just have it, be hackneyed that, oh, we humanize Amos with a child. And Amos humanizes
he has a daughter figure now.
Yeah, right? They always do such a good job with Amos and pairing him up with people, whether it was with Prax or whether it was with Peaches or now Teresa Duarte. Like, he's with Duarte's daughter. That's... When we were entering this book, that was not on my bingo card, was, Duarte's daughter is going to be made rebellious because of Amos in part. I think that's a great turn of events, but it wasn't in my mind at all. But yeah, she was one of my favorite people in the book. But I actually am going to tell you now, my favorite person in this book, hands down,
Holden?
Was James the Dancing Bear Holden. I loved him.
You loved that interlude so much.
Because I wanted it. I miss them doing interludes. I love that in the fourth book. The interludes were always great, but they only used one here, and it was what I wanted. I said, oh, wouldn't it be great if they just started calling him the Dancing Bear instead of James Holden? And then it happened. It was so... Oh, chef's kiss. And this is another one where I feel the pain of this not being adapted, because with the last book, I really would have loved to have seen someone play Sing. I would have loved Sing to have been brought to the screen.
Seeing Stephen Strait.
I would have loved to have seen Stephen Strait as this broken, pathetic old man Holden. He's so good at playing Holden as like a fucking sad loser.
In the message that Naomi gets is a scene that I would love to just watch him do.
I want to see Stephen Strait like haggard with sausages in his pockets to feed dogs. I wanted that. That was
gotta be friends with the dog.
Yeah. Even if they do end up killing me, I loved James Holden. Old Man Holden, Old Holden, is actually one of my favorite characters of this series. I like him so much because he has nothing to prove anymore. Like, he's been all of that optimism and that naivete and that white knight mentality and his paladin nature has come around to help him win the day, but also it's broken him. It has made him a humble man now. He's no longer like that.
That despair never goes away now.
But it also gives him like a kooky, strange edge.
Yeah. Because the hope doesn't go away either.
No, neither of them go away, but he no longer has that cockiness to him anymore, but also he's still a little smarmy boy.
Because he's like, yeah, I might be broken down and a dancing bear and a prisoner. Maybe I can do this one thing.
I don't know what's going on. I have no context for anything anymore. I'm out of the loop. I have given them...
I'm getting tortured now. What?
Like, they no longer do that. They just keep him around. They don't know what to do with Holden. They just minimize his existence more and more.
Yeah. It's like, well, that's his purpose now, is the dancing bear. And it's interesting to see the way that he continues to struggle with that once he's off Laconia. And the fact that we get that part, we get that time of seeing him readjusting to being with Naomi and back on the Rosie after so much time has passed. They've lost so many people. How did they find home again? And what will it look like now?
And while he was on Laconia, he was too busy thinking about his mental well-being and like what's he got to do and like how's he going to survive this, like the little victories. Oh, if I can feed the dogs, they'll like me. Oh, if I can crack jokes with the guards and I learn their names,
give them coffee.
Give them coffee without actually giving them coffee. Wink, wink. If I ingratiate myself, it will make them at least feel a little guilty if they have to shoot me in the back of the head one day. Like, I never...
Maybe pause for a second.
Like, I believe that they will kill me one day, but, at least I'll have this little victory. But when he's off Laconia... He now has felt the age and the way that this has taken the physical toll on him. He's no longer that strong, virile
No.
man that he used to be. Like, that this has not only eaten away, like, he accepted, this is haunting, he accepted it ate away at his soul, but now he's realizing it ate away at his body and mind. And it's just
And he's like, oh, I really let myself go.
Yeah. But how could you not? It's just...
But Naomi did the opposite, because being in her body and working it out was a solace, because it meant that she was focused on something within her control, the direct benefits, the action. She couldn't think about so many things when she forced herself into her body. But Holden, the way that he got through was to escape his body and to be bigger than that, not be constrained to that and to his location.
What did you make of his morality? Because that's always been a defining part of his character, is that morality. And he crosses a line in this book.
He tees up a child to be murdered.
Yeah.
Like, he hopes that it doesn't happen, but he's just like, well, if it does, it still kind of works for my plan.
When we were in his shoes through that plan, or like when he was putting it into motion, it didn't feel as heinous to me.
No, it didn't.
But then when other people got wind of it, they were like, what the fuck? That Holden would never do that. And it's like, yes, he would.
Discovering that is just like, oh yeah, that is what he did.
That's fucked up.
He didn't frame it that way because that's fucking awful, but he did.
And even then, his plan was to manipulate things so that Elvie got into a position of power and Cortassa got killed. And that's still quite despicable for Holden to do. Like, that's quite a manipulative, or it's something Christian would do. That's why he leans on that a bunch.
Yeah.
But like, that's
very
just,
much so.
It's that very poisonous mindset that's all he has. He can only do the game of whispers now because he can't do the diplomacy because Duarte's insane. That's something as well. Like,
he
Holden,
he was like, as soon as he first met him, he was just like, "Oh, you're bonkers,"
and that is just,
and that's just continued.
Hit again and again and again. Duarte, he's on his war against the alien gods because men's always got to prove a point, don't they? Like. They have the justification of like, well, they attack us. They kill our people when we travel through the rings. And that's not fair. So we should, attack them to see if they react. And if they react, that means they're aware. So that means they're doing it on purpose. Like, that's the thought here.
Logic tests.
Yeah. I like the bit where they lost a whole bunch of people because they went into that solar system that was a booby trap.
Yeah.
It was just a booby trap that I guess the previous aliens put there.
They activated it.
Yeah, exactly. But the previous...
It wasn't like, whoopsies, oh, bam. It's like, no, they caused that. They fucked around and they found out.
That's a lot of this.
Especially with the Laconians.
Do I love Duarte as a character? Yes, I do. And one of the things that I unabashedly enjoy is how much of a monstrous freak he is. Not only in his actions, but in his appearance, in the way that he talks, in the way that he forces everyone to go about this because he thinks it's the right thing to do. But I don't even know if he thinks it's the right thing to do. He just wants it. It's as Peaches said in the last book. Because
domination of humanity is not enough for him.
No, it's not enough. Because he still feels insecure and small. One of the things... Okay, so I actually missed this. I can't remember if it was in any of these books, but it was in the show. So in the show, we met him. Remember that we met him in the final season in two scenes?
Yeah.
So weird. But one of the scenes he had was him talking about the reason he's done all of this was because he is afraid. Like, he saw Mars start to disappear in front of his eyes, and it made him afraid like a child. That's not really as present in these books, but it is underlying everything. Like, a lot of this comes from, like, insecurity and fear. It's not just enough to rule humanity, but there are these intergalactic, interdimensional, whatever Cthulhian nightmare horrors that we can't comprehend that make him feel inferior. Because he can't prove them right or wrong. He can't beat them. He can't persuade them. So he just has to do what he does always, which is, I'll give them a bloody nose because I'm a soldier, and that's worked every other time. Like, that parallels with Bobby too. Like, it's that Martian mentality, but now we see it in this way. And what does it give him in this? Loss after loss after loss, and he doesn't learn a fucking thing because it comes back down to he is this big man-child who doesn't know what to do when somebody makes him feel small. And in this case, that somebody is an alien of species that we have no way of understanding. Like, that's something...
They're beyond comprehension. And
that's not what
for
makes
somebody who's such a tactician, it's like, know thy enemy.
Yeah.
Is pretty darn basic.
That's why he does the tit for tat. He thinks that's knowing your enemy.
Yeah, but that's like figuring out your enemy, not knowing them.
Yeah, but see, you and I understand that, but he doesn't.
No, he's stupid.
He thinks, well, when they do that, I know thine enemy. Now we can do what we got to do. He knows that they're going to do that, because why wouldn't they? You threw a bomb in their face, dude. What the fuck do you think they're going to do? Okay. Did you expect it? I did. Their whole little alien tactic is like turning off our consciousness for like a couple of minutes or whatever it is. Like, they fuck us, but not enough to kill us all like they did with the previous aliens. I was so happy that
when it fucked him over.
Because he is partially the previous alien race now.
And that he thought that was such an advantage. And to be honest, it did go in his favor for quite some time. I loved
monkeys and microwaves, though.
Yeah,
as Holden said in the third book.
But somebody, like, I think it's in this book, somebody's description of his appearance.
Oh, yeah, they keep talking about his appearance.
In this one was really good. It was really fun of conveying how, no, it's still weird, and everybody's treating it like it's not weird.
But they're all afraid.
And that makes it weirder, and that being a similarity in Teresa's experience of the world, too.
He gets even stranger looking once he's been incapacitated. It's slowly a thing over time, like his hair is getting weirder, and like he's losing like mass in his face, but also it's his skin's getting like more black. It's all of these things that just happening with his character, because you have to incapacitate him because he is too strong of a force. So narratively speaking, in the last book, he wasn't present. We had him at the beginning and end, and he sent his minions off. This book, we have to have him present, and so what do they decide to do? They, for all intents and purposes, lobotomize him. He is lobotomized in this book for what we can... That's the best way I can put it. Like, he is elsewhere. He is connected and seeing things that we don't know.
He's like seeing floating bugs.
Oh, that's what they describe it as. They don't know.
But I'm like, yeah, that connected for me in such a specific way. Having been around family members who experienced degenerative diseases, particularly ones that like affect their memories and their sort of ability to engage with reality. And it is kind of like you feel like they're seeing something that you can't, because you want there to be some logic, and there seems to be some pattern, meaning there, yeah.
That person's still underneath it all. If you just say their name in the right tone, then they'll recognize what reality is again.
Like, they're here, so they can't be lost.
If I remind you that I'm your child, then that should wake up yourself because you love me, right, Daddy? And then it kind of works because he does love her. Like, I like that that's a thing too. Like, even Holden's like, he does love her.
Oh, yeah, that's a part. Like, that's the only thing.
But
tying him down in a way.
It's the only shred of humanity he has, and what his version of love is still barbaric and inhumane and cruel. But he does. That's love. That he does love her.
Yeah.
And one of the best bits of this book is when, Duarte's been incapacitated, he's been taken down a peg, he's now this lobotomite figure, but he has powers. We already know he has powers because he can read people's minds.
Him killing Cortázar.
He now has the ability to deatomize people. That's his new power.
Insane.
Now,
it's
did he get
beautiful.
Did he get this power because of this process he's gone through, or did he already have that? We don't know. They don't. It's new to them. But that's the thing. Cortázar, his notes were like, oh, he has all these fucked up abilities that even he doesn't know yet. Like Cortázar knew, but did Duarte know? And did others know, or did this process that he's now going through just amplify whatever's inside of him?
I know we're going to talk about Elvie, but I want to note here how much I loved how she was annoyed at the way that Cortázar organized his notes.
Yeah, but then it slowly started to make sense.
Like, she understands that it has its own logic, but how she's so disappointed in him for being a bad scientist.
And then he becomes more rational.
It's one thing to be unethical, but you're doing bad science. You're not even getting reliable results.
It worked out well for him, though.
Because he died?
Yeah, it worked out real well for him. Because he wanted to be immortal. And he was doing all this insane stuff and using Duarte and the daughter as guinea pigs for when it's eventually safe enough to use on himself. But also, he became obsessed with just, what new fucked up thing can I do? And it worked real well for him against the God Emperor who can read minds and now deatomize you. They're real good for him. Worked out real well. I laughed. I thought it was so funny when he died, and then all of the other characters just calmly just walked out of the room and just said, well, that just happened.
I forget.
Now no, we should kill him. Oh yeah, take my gun. See if he can even die. Good luck. Good luck. If you fail, you'll be taken care of just like he was. Bye. Oh, man.
Fuck, go find out.
I like how much the Laconians just realize how fucked they are throughout this book. Like Trejo and Trejo and Illich, they're like Yes Minister characters having to deal with an existential Cthulhian threat. It's as if you put the characters from Yes Minister in charge of having to deal with the end of days, like the portal to hell has opened. Now get these two characters from Yes Minister to deal with it. It is like the comedy of bureaucracy, and we know it's shit, and we know that it doesn't make sense, but see, the rules state that we have to do it like this, so we're going to follow it by the letter, you see, and it's like that roundabout logic that just makes you grind your teeth when you just hear it said aloud. Okay, let's talk about her. Elvie was not that good of a character in the show.
No.
Played well. I think this actress would have really nailed this character if they got to do it.
The stage of her.
But you and I had the unpopular opinion, according to the fans of these books, of loving the stupid, awkward infatuation she had with Holden in the fourth book. It's memorable. But even in the fourth book, she wasn't my favorite character, but she was okay. Now she gets so much here to do because she's the most valuable person, because she's the one that's invested in the alien lore and tech and evolutionary tree and all of that. She's the person that everyone
she has
turns
a unique
to.
set of skills.
She's irreplaceable. And then they're like, actually, could you stop doing that and work on...
This is your new number one priority. So what am I doing about my other number one priority? Well, that's still your number one priority.
I liked her. I really loved her in this book.
I really enjoyed her husband as well.
Fayez.
Like, I really, really enjoyed their scenes together. And the way that he calls her out in a loving way. And how she and he are both still surprised in a way by how well they know each other.
She starts out as afraid. Again, we turn back to this fear. And she starts out as like, I don't know how to act because I am not a military officer.
But I now have a rank.
And I have responsibilities that I know how to perform, but they won't let me because they dictate it has to be done this way. But through the course of actions that she takes, and she gets a spine. She starts to know her place, but also know how to work the system to her favor. And that's also because Jim manipulated things to make it work in her favor.
Mm-hmm.
And she feels super betrayed by that in the end. Like she had this idea of Holden as like the one last bastion of purity, of like moral goodness.
And now, no, he's corrupted too.
He is, and it's because she is. She's realized when Holden did this that he was right to do that, but also what does that say about me? That I have to be in this place, that I've had to reap the rewards of, like, you know, palace intrigue, backstabbing, ancient Rome type
and people's
stuff.
Deaths.
Yeah. She didn't like Cortázar, but, you know, he died and now it works well for her. It's like, isn't that eerie to think about? And she keeps getting, like, pissed on during this book. Like, she got fucked up. She lost a part of her thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Because the aliens did a little new trick where they just kind of like take bits of things.
Yeah, they just make
them.
Everything Swiss cheese.
I like that. That was it. That one guy's left arm was left behind. Like his arm was the only thing that they left behind for us. It's like, oh
yeah, but that itself is also random.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like the turning off consciousness didn't work effectively. We'll try it again. Oh, no? Okay. Then maybe just shoot holes in them.
Or absorb them into our reality in randomized order. Or just consume whole systems into us. Goodbye, Behemoth / Medina / Naboo.
The ring space is completely different now. And I really like how we see how that changes multiple people's perspectives. Because it was always like, oh, the ring space is unsettling, there's no stars. And now it's like, the ring space is unsettling, it has stars.
Well, the ring space was also like a anchor point. You know,
and now it's not there anymore. And there's
it used to be scary, but then we conquered it, we thought.
But now there's no like it's still a choke point, but there's nothing there to help control or guide it.
And there's no assurances that it's safe now because
the traffic lights are broken.
And what broke them was a monster. So you don't want to drive down
Godzilla went through.
Yeah, you don't want to drive down there because Godzilla's still there and the traffic lights are down. I absolutely just adored Elvie trying to hold on to her personhood and having to realize that she has to sacrifice that for the greater good. And, you know, that thing that you always wonder, can you change the system from within it? Because that's what she's forced to do. It's not like she wants to do that, but that's what she's forced to do. She has to be a part of the system to change the system, which is that a real thing? Is that possible? That's always an eternal debate. You often see, especially in stories like this, like with Battlestar Galactica or Babylon 5 or, so many. X-Files, great example too. Skinner in X-Files is such a go-to character of someone who believes that they could change the system from within, but is routinely shown that you just can't. But sometimes you can. And it's that sometimes that makes it feel like, well, that means that you can.
It's worth trying because maybe.
And is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Elvie's no longer allowed to even ask that.
And it's so interesting the way that she feels defeated when she's getting exposed to these additional things that are related to Kataza's work, and how the children...
Oh, by the way, those two little brats from season 6... they're here now. We know that there's a short story in between this book that is all about them, but for the sake of this, you and I were like, oh, they're here now. Those two weird children that took up a lot of time in the final season of a show. They're randomly in the book now.
Mm-hmm.
They actually mean something.
Yes, they do. But the way that her interactions with them really... sort of, it sends her into a tailspin
because she's forced to dehumanize them and she can't.
Mm-hmm.
But then is she being a bad scientist because they aren't human anymore, are they?
Yeah, it weirdly reminded me of Jane Goodall.
Oh, with the apes?
Yeah, because it was seen as, she pioneered all of these things that we still use, right?
But it was seen as bad science at the time.
Yeah, and then there are things that she did that she also then went on to think is bad science.
Mm-hmm.
But the way of, dehumanizing them and refusing to acknowledge their humanity is kind of the way that Cortázar comes to it, which is also a reflection of his values.
And his science and how he operates. He doesn't care about morals because he doesn't really care about the ethical implications because he doesn't really care about the human cost.
Mm-hmm. And Elvie can't disconnect in that way, and it doesn't feel right to her either to do that, to treat these children in this way.
But they are also inhuman enough to where you also have that gut feeling of I do
other.
Have to treat them that way.
It's other.
Yeah, they're other. They're not us anymore.
Mm-hmm. So it's tricky, and she doesn't know where the line should be, or even where the line is most of the time. She's just like, they are children, and she calls them children, whereas everybody else is calling them the subjects.
But then when she tries to connect with them,
she can't get through.
She can't even treat them like children because then they respond with information that is beyond even humanity itself, because they connected to some information the aliens had. They have some stuff going on, and it's oh, okay. How can I, again, this is something that is so good is it's not black and white. It's not so simple. It's not as simple as, oh, you should personify them, then it's good because they keep...
Or creepy children evil.
Yeah, or creepy children evil. They keep giving you these things. And then you have Amos, again, spoiler alert, people, Amos fucking dies in this book, and he gets resurrected as well from this. And
the drones.
Yeah, the repair drones, who were called dogs in the show. In this book, they never claim that they look like dogs. I know, again, the short story is called Strange Dogs, so I guess these children think they look like dogs. But in the book, they never described in a way that sounds like a dog. But he gets repaired. And he, because he's an adult as well, he just articulates the whole thing of just like, look.
But it's also
It's
Amos's attitude.
But also, is it? I was having this conversation with my sister the other day because they've also read the books. The children, they pause and like have loading times, like of processing times, and Amos doesn't. But here's my question that I asked my sister, and I ask of you. Is that statement true? Or is that usual slow, methodical way Amos approaches things him processing like the children do? Because we're used to him interacting with people in these stilted, awkward, slow ways. That's become bread and butter. But when children do it, it's like that weird. They're learning. They're getting the data.
True.
But is that, does Amos have that, or is it being masked by how he usually talks anyway that you can almost not tell the difference? I don't know the answer.
No, I think for me, my way of thinking about it was that the siblings Amos, having been reconstructed by the repair drones, are now connected to the broader network, which I assume is the same thing that the investigator
was a part
of or was exploring, right?
Yeah.
So to me, it was the children, because they're children, have to think through and process the information and figure out what query to ask. The same way, like, the investigator was even more basic and had to go, like, manually through the things.
And he didn't have a body either.
Yeah, that's, like, he would disappear for ages because he's having to go through all of these things. And the children have a little bit more knowledge, a little bit more grounding.
But they're also children.
Yeah, so it still takes them a while.
But Amos is an adult, so he has, like, adult thoughts and patterns.
But also, because Amos is such a direct person, his interfacing with the system, he asks it a question, it gives a direct answer. Because that's the way that his mind works, so that's the way that he is interfacing with that system.
And this is all, like, our gut feeling speculation on this. What's most important, really, really important, is Amos says, fuck that noise. Don't you worry. I know you're getting all twisted up, Holden, about, like, the am I dead, am I not?
I'm still me.
I'm still me, bro.
I'm still me.
I've just got black eyes now, and I just can't die. I'm still me. He says, they do the Babylon 5 scene. Hey, Amos, I heard you died. Yeah, I did, but I'm better now. It's Sheridan. It's just Sheridan in Babylon 5. I genuinely guffawed at that. I was like, oh, come on, guys. Remember the first book where I think it was Julie. Remember Julie, Mal?
Oh, yeah.
I think she directly quoted, like, Dune, where she was like, fear is the mind killer. They stopped doing that shit.
Yeah.
But then this came along and like, oh, come on, guys, you just doing the Babylon 5 thing, aren't you? Like, I know that scene too. It was so good. Mass Effect also did that scene for pretty much verbatim as well. So, I mean, I'm sure Babylon 5's like doing it, but it's just, I can't help but think of that. Because I know they like Babylon 5, these writers. I know they do.
Yeah, it's fun to see how Holden does that, and he's like, oh, well, I'm the captain again, so I gotta go do that. I gotta go do that. And the way that is similar and different to when Bobby calls Amos out for his mental health issues.
As we wrap up here, They save Holden. Teresa breaks him out because she's become so disillusioned and there's nothing there for her.
They get the Rossi back.
They do. They lead a charge into the Laconian space. Elvie is promoted up the ranks and now stays behind because that was a great end to her character too, of like throughout the book her and Fires had these dreams of like running away again and doing all this, but no, that time's over now. We aren't afforded that anymore, and that's okay.
And that's not our lot in life,
but it's okay. Like, that's the thing, is at the start they felt like it wasn't going to be the case anyway, but it wasn't okay, but now I have a purpose. But Teresa grabs Holden. They're waiting for the Rossi, and wouldn't you know that Dan Illich comes in, and he's like, I'm going to kill your fucking dog if you don't come with me right now. And that means he's a real bad guy, because, look, was it already bad enough that he was manipulating a child? But once you threaten an animal, you know that this character's dead. Mm-hmm. And Amos fucking rips him apart a good deal.
Satisfying.
I mean, he did kill Amos. So.
Yeah, and Amos is just like, yeah, needed to even a score.
Needed to even that score. And now we have our new crew, our new family on the Rossi. We have Naomi, we have Holden, we have Alex, we
Teresa, who's like, I'm getting out of here as soon as possible. I don't like this. I don't want this. I don't like you.
She's never been in space before.
Don't like your face. Muskrat in a diaper.
Muskrat? I like that the biggest concern that they have right now is how to deal with a dog on the spaceship, and if anyone's figured out how to do it. And the biggest danger is the hair of the dog, that it gets into all these little systems on the ships and can fuck up a ship real good. And then that's confirmed when they go see the dog. It's like, oh god, all this hair everywhere. It's like, yeah, it's in 0G. And the dog like trying to bark, and it just doesn't, like, it's just such a strange experience. And oh, it was so
much fun.
Yeah, this was really fun. I like this weird little found family ragtag thing, and how in these books they keep changing it up and having new ways of going about it.
Evolve.
Remember when May was on the ship and they heard her running around, and it was only Christian who understood, Christian and Prax that understood because they're parents, the noise. And that was a cute thing. And now we're at this point where, like, oh, we have another kid on the ship. And all of these characters are in a different place in life. It's real sad, but bittersweet, but also fun. As we are now done with this, there's so much in this book that we didn't get to talk about. There's so many bits. There's so many pieces. I loved it. I thought this was great. I loved the last book more because it was simpler, but also it was very funny.
It's still a yum for me.
It is a yum from me as well. I will say that as much as I loved Sing in the last book, I think Teresa was as equally of a good character. Like, she was a much more dramatic character, but I thought she was great to keep focus on. But the next book we shall be reading and then discussing, it's the last one. Last of the mainline books, at least. Leviathan Falls.
Leviathan wakes, Leviathan falls.
Yes, we have that symmetry. You and I, we have not read it. We haven't started it. We don't know anything about it. I have not heard anything about how this wraps up as a series. I don't know if it's even good. I don't know. I don't engage. But I have some thoughts. I have some thoughts of what could happen.
I know that this trilogy is not many people's favorites.
Yes, we talked about that last time.
That kind of reputation of it.
But then we had listeners say that they were shocked to hear that.
Yeah.
So divisive, let's just say.
But I feel like there isn't much of a hive mind collective response to the Expanse books, because there are things that some people love and some people hate and some people are on the middle of. It's not like polarizing. It really does have fans that are on different levels of the spectrum in their response to
I-
almost everything.
I will say, as the person who manages our podcast and social medias, I'll just say, and I don't think we're just contrarians, but we 9 times out of 10 go against the grain of what the online fan base of the Expanse likes and hates
and
of this.
the vocal part of the fan base.
Yes, the vocal
too.
part. I'll never forget. We have our Patreon where you can come get content early and all of that usual stuff. I'll never forget when we were reviewing season 3 and we were loving season 3 and we were loving Anna in particular. Someone, I won't name their name, but they stopped supporting us on Patreon because we liked Anna. And that was bad, apparently. Like, people have commented that they don't like when we don't like stuff, like when we crap on stuff or when we're too critical. But the most harsh things we get from the fans is when we like something that apparently you're not supposed to like. And I'm like, I don't know. I've had several comments about like, why do you guys like Ehrenreich so much? I'm like, well, fuck me. We like stuff that apparently isn't liked as much. But do you have any thoughts on what could be happening in the next book and how it ends? How does the Expanse end? But first, what do you think's happening in the next book?
I really don't know, because the Empire is crippled, which does lead to and the end of this book.
Yeah, Trejo's in charge.
Tease up that the ring entities are determined to kill humanity now.
And we deserve it.
And it's like, yeah, again, fuck around and find out. So I assume that they are going to fall.
The aliens?
Yes, because Leviathan Wakes was when, everything was starting up with the protomolecule and all of that shit. So I assume that it is going to be resolved in one way or another in the next book. What that looks like, what that diplomacy potentially is, I think we're still going to have that core rotation of POVs of Alex, Naomi, and Holden. I am not sure in what way or for how long Teresa is going to be around.
I want Drummer back, by the way. I just wanted to say that too.
Yeah, I like that they're just like, yeah, she's not here. She doesn't have to be.
I would like
Nobody
her back.
cares about her anymore.
Yeah, but I would like her to have like a, fuck yeah moment. And maybe I'm clouded because of the show version is such a big character.
Yeah.
But even in this book, the taste of it, it feels like, man, I want to see her again. You know what too you're saying is we got these point of view characters. I'm having a hard time even thinking about like how do they resolve as individual characters. I keep thinking about like the big picture, like the narrative thing. As are you're talking about like the aliens and how it'll fall for them and the proto-molecule stuff, but like and the Empire, all of these grand concepts. But when it comes to the individuals, it's not so crystal clear, and I think that's a positive. I think that's a good thing. For me, I would think that the next book, Duarte has to wake up. That has to be the threat. He wakes up and he has, or even worse, he wakes up but not as his full. They say this too. He will never be the same again, and that frightens them. But what does a Duarte who's not sane, or even less in reality, because he was always insane, with his level set of powers do? I think that's the threat. I think the threat is everyone's going to worry about Duarte. I reckon he'll find out. I reckon he'll find out once he finds out his daughter's gone. I think that's going to snap him in some way.
Yeah,
because that's the one thing he has left to control. But what does that look like? I don't know about these children, Zan and Kara.
Yeah,
they have to matter.
Lets them go.
Yes, and they cry. But what do? They must be important because the show puts so much emphasis on them. They have their own novella. They are in this book. And they weren't big enough in this book to justify so much of a spotlight being put on them in other media.
No.
So they must be big in the next book. But how? I think it makes sense to me that they meet Amos because he is like them. And he would relate to them. And since they're children, he would want to protect them.
Yes.
Like, do the Rossi crew get the children and take them away because Duarte needs them because he wants to be immortal? And they're the key? They're a key? I don't know. But do you have an idea of the end? How does the Expanse end? Close the book.
Rossi being decommissioned?
Not destroyed?
Or destroyed? That's one option. Naomi setting foot on Earth.
The remnants of Earth?
Yeah. I feel like it might also end, like, we'll have the conclusion of, like, this part, and then it'll do a huge jump forward.
I could see them doing like a Babylon 5 thing where it's like a million years later and they're the evolved humans now.
Yeah.
Like they're now the level of the proto-molecule builders or the ring entities. Like, ooh, aren't we
I
cool?
don't think we're going to get an explanation of the origins of the entity.
No, the entities are. The proto-molecule builders, like, or ring builders or whatever we want to call them, they're still up in the air of like what we do with that stuff because that keeps building up. My thought process on the ending keeps coming back to how big of a deal it's been in these books of monkeys and microwaves. You know, if a monkey gets a stick, they beat another one to death with it. The repercussions of us playing with technology we don't understand. Look at Duarte. That's what happened to him. We played with technology we don't understand, and now here are the repercussions. That's been reinforced. How do we undo that? And I don't know. I'm thinking in my mind the way this book... this is so weird of a comparison. Have you ever seen Escape from LA?
No.
You've seen Escape from New York?
No.
You haven't watched... That's where we've watched Escape with Snake Plissken.
Have
Kurt Russell. Okay. Spoiler alert from Escape from LA. A terrible film. Terrible film. But here's how Escape from LA ends in the... one of my favorite endings of all time is Escape from LA, even though the movie sucks. Snake Plissken is such a cynical character that he decides that the world is so broken, the only way to fix it is he's given this super device that will blast an EMP field across the world and destroy all of like technology, and we will be in the dark ages and have to rise up again. But he is such a cynical character, he doesn't give a fuck. So he does that without thinking twice about it, and then the movie cuts to black.
Yeah, I was thinking about the fact that the ring gates are probably going to have to close.
Yeah.
Because they keep on mentioning how some of these
planets will be sustainable, and some won't.
And some of them are close to it, but they all benefit from being able to trade.
Mm-hmm. And we are
the fact that we've lost some gates in this book.
Yeah, and it reacclimatizes. My thought is, look, that cynicism may not be the level they go with it, because like Amos could do that. But I think it's got to be Holden.
Yeah,
I think it's got because he's our main character, and he has personally been the one
to deactivate.
Yeah, I think they're going to put it in Holden's shoes because he's personally wrestled with this concept to begin with of us with our hindbrain, us with the monkey and the microwaves. Like he has to be the guy. Will the investigator come back? Will Miller come back? Because, you know, he always just kept coming back.
Will the Rossi crew be all together when that plug needs to be pulled?
Because it seems like we have to get rid of the proto-molecule and the rings to be able to survive these. I don't think they're going to do...
We need to, like, as long as that's around, then the entities can reach us, and the entities will destroy us if they can reach us. So how do we deactivate these things and disconnect?
You know what's awful?
From it.
Oh my god, this is so awful. But I'm actually thinking about fucking Star Trek Discovery, where they had the concept of, remember when dilithium just exploded one day and it completely changed the status quo of everything? Yeah, that's this. Where what happens if one day we just fucking deactivated all of the proto-molecule? That would completely switch up how everything works in this universe. That, or like in Star Trek Picard, even worse. Remember at the end of that where it's like, oh, there's a Cthulian horror and we don't know how to deal with it. The only way we can deal with it is shut off the ring that has activated it, and then we just don't talk about it.
Okay.
I'm done. I'm not being silly about that.
I know, but we've reached the point of talking about
the Expanse that we're going back around.
Those shows, and I'm done. Thank you for listening.
I just want to say, I'm not being a silly bugger.
I
mean it when I say they could make that stuff work. These books could make those things that I've seen before done poorly actually work, because there's been consistency throughout. But we're done here. Rachel, anything else you want to say to people out there? You want to tell them where they can find us and all of that good stuff?
yumyumpod or yumyumpodcast. Email address is yumyumpod@gmail.com. Patreon is linked below.
Last time we get to ask this, who will be in the next book? Who's going to make the sudden appearance? They don't have to be a point of view. They can just be here. We'll have Locke show up.
Avasarala's granddaughter.
Yeah. That's a good one.
Who else? Anna.
Oh yeah, I miss her.
Would be a welcome addition, because she was going out to one of the ring molds, but I can't remember what one.
No, but should be good.
So yeah, if it's tapping back in her or no.
Oh yeah, I would love if Monica showed up. I keep saying that.
Yeah, you want her as a POV? You've been asking.
I want her POV. I want her to report the end of days. Wouldn't that be awesome if she got to report the end of days?
I'd be so happy for you.
I would be happy for me too. Thank you. Oh, I would love to see, talk about like Laconian characters a lot. I'd love to see Overstreet again. Because
what about Kit?
I thought he was going to appear in this book. Like, I thought, I would be surprised if he showed up in the final book as like a, hey, the next generation type deal. Like the next generation of people. But, oddball pick, I at least would like Eric referenced again. I liked Eric. But I hope he's doing okay, being like a gangster on the moon or wherever he was last we saw him. But those are our thoughts, our predictions. We will be back next time, whenever that is. We've got a whole book to get through, and it takes time, but we're doing our best. We've been plugging away. Thank you all so much for being here on our journey through the Expanse.
The thing is, you went through some weird shit too. You got changed. Know some things you didn't know going in. Naomi and Alex? Same. Hell, Tiny's barely related to who she was the first time I saw her. That's just life.